Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tiny-tastic Talks. Happy New Year to every one of you. I am actually 1 year older. It was my birthday New Year's Day. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I had a great holiday. I hope you had a great holiday season. And now we're basically back to the grind, right? How does that feel? Today I just wanted to talk about what this year means for me moving forward and what it might mean for you moving forward, and to just have a talk about goals that we would have this year, whether big or small, and share a little bit about what I'm thinking of for the year, and for us to also have a discussion about goal setting and how it is important for us who suffer with chronic illnesses or invisible disabilities, things like that. I think it's important to have some time to reflect and be able to project into the future what you'd like to see happen so that you can engender that motivation within yourself and that hope within yourself to keep going and to keep pressing on. So as I think about this year of 2019, I keep coming back to this whole kind of got year of rebirth idea. And what that means for me is testing my limits without going too far. One of my main goals is to grow the counseling business that I launched just at the end of last year, doing promo, improving my website, all that type of stuff, and getting more clients that way. Another goal of mine is to be more assertive in another part-time job that I have in terms of like, what do I need to do? Making a plan, making a list so that I don't get stressed out, because as many of you know, or maybe you don't know, maybe you're new to my channel, hello. I am an anxious type of a person, especially with the conditions that I have. RHS was the one that set that all off, and FND is what is kind of perpetuating this state of hypervigilance or of anxiety, because functional neurological disorder affects the central nervous system, which means it affects the way the brain interacts and sends messages to the body. My jobs are very, very part-time. This whole year is a test run for me to see how I do, to see if I can be financially independent, to see what my limits are, and to maybe slightly increase as I go, but not go full force. Like, I'm going to be able to work 30 hours because I know for me, I wouldn't be able to do that. For those of you that can, I commend you. I'd love to know how you have transitioned back into the workforce. I know for some of you, perhaps you haven't had a choice as to how many hours you could work in a safe way or in a healthy way. Well, what's that been like for you? What have you had to change about your work environment, if anything, to help you cope better with your symptoms or just with day-to-day stressors in your workplace, and then managing life in general? Another one of my goals is to start writing my book about everything that's happened to me. I have ideas already set, but I would love to further that and to get into just reading more things. I read a lot last spring into the summer, but then in the fall season I stopped reading, so I want to pick that up again. So that's kind of like more of a hobby type of thing in terms of reading, but I think with developing that habit again will help as well in terms of me developing a plan to set out for the book I would like to write. This leads me into basically my last goal for the year, or one of the last ones, is to focus on things that bring me joy and that fuel my passions for things. So my creativity, like YouTube. YouTube is a way for me to be creative, to have an outlet to express myself, have an outlet to speak my mind, and to encourage you guys and myself. Because as I've had to switch portfolios for my job, I'm not able yet to speak to crowds. And so this is another way for me to be able to do that and to find that fulfillment. This year in general, if we were to review it, I mean, I started with making puzzles. 1,000 pieces. We're progressing pretty well. But at least I get to use both hands with this. I just got one. I just got one. In January, I tweeted, "Today was the first time in 10 months where I felt confident enough to make frozen pizza, take it out of the oven, and pray that my tremors would be steady enough. Everything went fine. Thank the Lord." So that was like a pretty big deal for me then. I remember that day. I cried in March when, here I say, I fully colored my mom's hair for the first time in 10 months. I pushed through the challenges and was rewarded with miniature Reese's cups. I'm crying. Ha ha ha. So again, as you can see, common theme here, I cry a lot. I can say that almost a year later, because it's not March yet, but I'm able to do the majority of her hair. If I am more symptomatic with my tremors, I will do about 3/4 of her hair. And if I'm feeling okay, I'll do the whole thing, which is great. April, I posted my first video on YouTube, and that was a big accomplishment for me because that was me branching out away from the puzzles that I was completing and finding a way to elaborate and increase the creativity that I was putting out into the world. A quote that I found just this week is from C.S. Lewis. It says, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending," which I thought was very fitting for me in terms of where I've come in 2018 and now looking to 2019 and what I can accomplish. So some questions that I have for you are, what are your goals for this year? Do you have any? Do you have maybe a theme like I do for what this year can bring for you? Like my theme is the year of rebirth. I would just encourage you to think about these things as maybe as small as you think they are or as grand as you think they are. Like writing a book in my case, like that's pretty intense. But like have fun with it too. Just have fun with it. Maybe you want to sketch more. Maybe you want to get into crocheting again. Maybe you want to get into woodwork and things like that. Anything that brings you joy that can also help with your recovery and how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and how that can improve. So I am looking forward to 2019. I'm looking forward to what this channel can bring to the world and how we can just become more of a community on here. You guys are awesome. If you have yet to subscribe to me, you can do so right here. If you haven't seen some of my videos over the holiday season, I will post them around, and I will see you next week.